It's one of the last places that you would want to get lost at night. People have reported what it felt like to get lost in the woods like this, and they said that, in the beginning, you feel confident. You're like, yeah, no, I'm headed right in the direction that I came from. You start overestimating how much each tree looks different to you, how distinct it looks. You start overestimating your own abilities. And then after an hour, you're sweating, you're panting, you're panicking, you're whipping your head around, all you see are more trees, and you realize all you did was take one big circle around, and you are right back where you started. And now the sun is setting. A lot of terrifying stories have come out of the Cascade Mountain Range in Washington. Sightings of Bigfoot, ghost stories, people gone missing. But more recently, one of the most terrifying stories to come out of the thick wooded mountains was that of Camp Keller and the monster that lived at the camp. About 25 miles east of Seattle, in like the middle of these trees, in the middle of a mountain. It's about an hour off the closest trail, so people don't dare venture off into this area. But if you did, if you looked really, really closely, you might see on the mountainside, there are some tree branches that feel really out of place. They don't look like they fell off the tree naturally. They don't look like that they belong there. It's almost like someone grabbed a pile of branches and piled them up on these random spots. It's so odd. If you walk closer, you hear all the twigs snapping beneath your foot, you would see a tiny wooden door underneath the branches. But that's so weird, because why would a mountain have a door? If you open the door, you would be inside the mountain. Welcome to Camp Keller. It is a bunker for the end of the world. If you were to make it this far into the mountains, the owner of the bunker would have likely heard you approaching and would have been watching you through binoculars, debating on what to do with you now, which is exactly what Chafee was trying to avoid. Usually, when Chafee was tracking humans, he would do it on his hands and knees. He would just crouch down onto the ground, staring at the muddy terrain, studying the surface for what he calls signals, which are track marks.
Chafee is a human?
Yes, Chafee's a human.
Okay.
Every broken twig, every boot print, he would be examining it. But Chafee and his partner wouldn't be able to do that today, because the person that they're tracking doesn't want to be found. So they dressed up as little tourists and they got lost from the main hiking trail. They look like a young, naive couple in the woods. They're stopping to take sips of their water while they glance around. They're taking pictures, reaching into their red backpacks for little snacks. But Chafee was experienced. One step into the woods and he knew that he wasn't alone. 5 steps into these woods and he knew that he was on the right track to find Peter Keller, the man who lived in that bunker, the man who had murdered 2 people in cold blood and was going to do it again unless Chafee tracked him down. Peter Keller had spent the past 8 years building a secret bunker filled with weapons in the mountain. He had stockpiles of explosives, pipe bombs, ammunition, rifles, chemicals to create other weapons of destruction. He was going to create a lab inside the mountain to study viruses. And he documented the whole thing in a series of vlogs. The videos start off very predictable. Peter would talk about how the building process was going for the bunker.
Today we're hauling up a 55-pound pack, basically a big bottle full of beans that's about 45 pounds, and some winemaking stuff, and then just the weight of the gun, and really got a lot of stuff up. We got propane, gasoline, food. I mean, basically I can last months up here without ever leaving.
He vlogged about what problems he faced when building a cabin underground. He never showed too much of the bunker itself. Maybe he didn't want to give away his location, I don't know. But he would frame the camera at his face and you would just see the sky above him. And his hair was usually really disheveled from all the construction work that he's doing.
This winter's been pretty brutal. It's been really slowing me down. I was hoping to be done about a month ago, but it's just constantly snowed. Last month has just been really, really wet and rainy. Just couldn't do anything for a long time.
He also vlogged about why he built this fortress in the first place. He said it was because he was ugly.
What?
How did I get so f***ed up? How did so many things go wrong? I don't think it's all my fault. I think it's more upbringing, family life. I was just too ugly. Nobody cared. I guess it's also because I don't have anything. I never did. No money. My looks are horrible. I've tried to make it in this world, and it just isn't happening. I'm 40 now, and I am running out of time. I'm getting to the point where just trying to live and pay bills and live as a civilian and go to work. It just freaks me out. It's actually more comfortable for me to think about living out here, robbing banks, pharmacies, just taking what I want for as long as I can. At least it'll be exciting. It won't be boring.
He wants to rob people?
Yeah.
Businesses?
Yeah. He documented how he had plans to kill 2 people in order to move into this bunker. He talked through his own feelings and thoughts about the double homicide that he was planning on committing.
Well, before, a while ago, I used to sit here and think, this whole thing is just crazy. Now, I guess with time, I just think that way all the time, that this is what I got to do. I don't even question it anymore. It just seems like everything makes so much sense now. Just the more I've thought about it, the more I understand it. I don't really feel bad about it. It's just the way it is. And I don't have to worry about Lynette or Kayleen. And everything will be taken care of. It'll just be me.
By the time Chafee and his partner were tracking Peter Keller in the woods, he would have already killed those 2 women. And he was planning to kill again very, very soon, unless Chafee stopped him. So they're tracking him, he's tracking them, and by the end, another person would be dead. This is the evil case of Peter Keller, the murderer who believed the world was coming to an end and that doomsday was approaching. Or so he claimed.